In 830 AD, the first Bagrationi prince of the resurgent princedom of Caucasus Iberia, Abbot the Great, laid dead on the altar of a church after his assassination at the hands of the Abbasid Caliphate. The princedom of Iberia was now in dire need of a ruler who could wield the same authority as their great king. This they found in his young son, Bagrat. Bagrat Bagrationi was likely born sometime around the year of 810 AD. His mother's name is unknown and has been lost to the midst of time. He was the middle child of two brothers, the eldest being named Adarnase and the younger being named Guram. Bagrat also had one younger sister, whose name has also been lost to time. We, however, do know that she married the future king of neighboring Abkhazia, Theodosius II. Shortly after his birth, Bagrat would be baptized by the influential abbot, Gregory of Consta. Gregory had been the voice of the Georgian Orthodox Church in the preceding decades, his sermons attracting massive crowds, as he served as the religious bedrock of the revived princedom. Sometime in Bagrat's youth, a marriage was arranged for him with the Princess of Armenia, and likely his cousin. While her name has been lost to time, we do know that her father was Prince Sambut VIII Bagratuni, also known as Sambut the Confessor, therefore connecting the two Bagratid dynasties as one. Bagrat's youthful years came to an abrupt halt in 830 AD, when his father, who was in the midst of a long and drawn-out campaign, was assassinated while praying at an Iberian church. His three sons now needed to divide not only their father's land amongst themselves, but also his assortment of royal titles. The eldest son, Adarnase, received the realm at the center of Iberia. The youngest son, Guram, received the easternmost territory, sharing a border with his father's archenemies, the Emirate of Tbilisi and their Georgian ally, Kakheti. Bagrat received the western portion, strung out along the Black Sea and sharing a border with the Eastern Roman Empire. To avoid inheritance disputes among the siblings, the three of them chose to pass Ashot's titles of Prince of Iberia and Koropoulates, or vassal, of the Eastern Roman Empire, over to their middle brother, Bagrat. He would now act as the face of Iberia. For 12 years after the death of their father, the three brothers ruled in their respective portions of Iberia in a peaceful manner, the two other brothers acquiring strategic marriages of their own during this period. Adarnase married a princess of Abkhazia, and Guram married another daughter of Sambut the Confessor, as his brother Bagrat had. In 842, Iberia's peace was disrupted. The Abbasid Caliphate had returned, but not to finish their work in destroying Iberia. Instead, they were here for an alliance. Just as they had during Ashot's lifetime, the Abbasid Caliph sought an alliance with Iberia to destroy their mutual foe, the Emirate of Tbilisi, who had broken away from Abbasid rule in 810. Mimicking the deal given to his father, Bagrat would be recognized as Prince of Iberia, and promised the lands of Kartli for his military aid. Bagrat agreed, and mobilized for a combined march on Tbilisi. The Abbasid governor of Armenia leading this expedition was Muhammad ibn Khalid, also known as the son of the previous Armenian governor who had ordered for the assassination of Ashot. Despite this, it appears that no serious grudges were held, as both men looked to expand their influence over the Caucasus Mountain region. The Georgian and Arab armies reached the outer walls of Tbilisi. Here, they put the city to the siege. The emir of Tbilisi, named Sahak, defended his walls with zeal, along with his Kakhetian ally. The old walls of the city did not wane, and were eventually left undisturbed by the Iberian Abbasid army, who decided to withdraw. While the campaign had failed, Bagrat still managed to come to friendly terms with what was his biggest threat, the Abbasid Caliphate. They now recognized his title of Prince of Iberia. All this while Bagrat was a vassal of the Abbasid's biggest rival, the Eastern Roman Empire. Bagrat, as seemed to be a theme in Iberia, was now playing the two biggest empires in the region off of one another for his own gain. Sometime between 842 and 853, the Princedom of Iberia added a sizable chunk of Armenia to their holdings, more specifically to the holdings of Bagrat's younger brother, Guram. The dynasty of Armenian princes from the region known as Gugark had went extinct. Instead of dissolving into the Abbasid Empire or another Armenian noble family, Guram became the successor to the Gugark dynasty, probably citing some form of far-off relation to these Armenian princes. With that, much of the borderland between Iberia and the Emirate of Tbilisi fell under the domain of Guram, and by extension, the Princedom of Iberia. For over a decade after the failed 842 siege of Tbilisi, Iberia once more found itself in a state of peace. This would come to be disrupted in the exact same way. The Abbasids called upon Bagrat in 853, their intention being the destruction of the Tbilisi Emirate. This time, the Abbasid army would be led by a much more battle-proven commander, a man by the name of Buga the Turk. Buga was a man of Khazar descent, who had come to the Abbasid Caliphate as a slave soldier. He quickly rose through the ranks and out of his servitude to become a trusted and battle-hardened commander of the Caliph. Both Guram and Bagrat met Buga the Turk on their way to subdue Tbilisi. This time, Amir Sahak wouldn't get so lucky. Held up in the city itself, he probably expected this campaign to conclude as it had before, a withdrawal of the attacking force under the impenetrable walls of Tbilisi. Quite the opposite would occur. Somehow, the walls were breached, as the Iberians and Abbasids stormed the city. Amir Sahak was captured and executed by Buga the Turk, who decided to put an end to this pesky rebel state once and for all. Buga proceeded in burning Tbilisi to the ground, taking any valuables with him and forcing the people into slavery or migration. The campaign continued north, capturing the region of Kartli and, as promised, handing it over to Bagrat. With the Tbilisi Emirate now destroyed and Kartli in the hands of Iberia, the Abbasid Caliphate formally recognized Bagrat as the prince of both Iberia and Kartli. Through inheritance and conquest, Iberia had nearly doubled in size during the reign of Bagrat. However, this recent victory would be short-lived. Just a year after the burning of Tbilisi and the occupation of Kartli, an unexpected enemy attacked Iberia, their longtime ally, the Kingdom of Abkhazia. The betrayal was due to the crowning of a new king in Abkhazia, George. George was the brother of the two previous kings of Abkhazia, both of which had marital ties to Iberia. George, on the other hand, had no such ties, and immediately broke the alliance after assuming the throne. He invaded Kartli and took the recently war-devastated region with ease. With Bagrat's loss of Kartli, he would spend the next decade trying to regain Kartli, to no avail. In the last 12 years of Bagrat's reign, he gave back to his country by funding the building of many of Georgia's finest churches, including the monastery of Kansta and Ishkahani, the first of which would be the seat of the abbot who had baptized him, Gregory of Kansta. Abbot Gregory managed to reach the age of 100 in the year 859 nonetheless, before passing away at the ripe and old age of 102. He was immediately canonized by the Georgian Orthodox Church as their first and only centenarian saint. In 876, Bagrat joined Gregory in the grave, dying of old age after ruling Iberia for a long stint of 47 years. Prince Bagrat of Iberia started his reign in uncertain circumstances, with the assassination of his father and two other brothers that could have taken the throne during this chaos. However, all three brothers banded together and avoided any and all conflict with one another over the succession, his eldest brother Adarnase even conceding the princely rank to Bagrat. Whilst he lost Kartli in the end, Bagrat did manage to bring about the utter destruction of Tbilisi, which ironically is the present-day capital of Georgia.